Our next session is going to explore how ancient wisdom blends with cutting-edge care to deliver holistic, personalized health solutions for women's health at every stage. We have as our moderator, Alice Mong, who is president of this beautiful venue at Asia Society. And she will be joined by Nellie Lam, assistant director at Hong Kong Baptist University, along with Dr. Zhang Shiping, associate professor of teaching and research department, also at Hong Kong Baptist University, Steph Tan, founder and CEO of NOOCI, Amanda Tay, commercial director of DFI Health and Beauty, and also Sarah Jane Ho, CEO and co-founder of Antivorta. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you.
Good morning. It's so great to see so many of you here this morning for this panel. I have personally been looking forward to this, moderating this panel because I'm personally very, very, very interested in this topic because TCM is something that I think many of us who grew up as, I was born in Taiwan and left when I was 10, but I remember my grandmother. I grew up with her, and TCM, we didn't call it TCM. I just remember TCM as tasting really bitter, and I hated it as a kid whenever you're sick. But it is something that as I get older in my current age, I really, really do appreciate, and the history of TCM, how much is related to women's health as well as male health. But I think we're going to hear from this distinguished panel of speakers about TCM. And I'm hoping at the end of this discussion, we're going to coin a new phrase I'm going to call CTCM in terms of contemporary TCM, because I really do think it's time, and Hong Kong is the place, and the region is the place to really contemporize TCM. When you think of TCM, Chinese traditional medicine and traditional Chinese medicine, it sounds old-fashioned. And I think you will see from this lineup of speakers that it's no longer unsexy to talk about TCM. In fact, I think reading up on their bios, how all 5 of the speakers have really brought TCM, the heritage, the history of TCM to, our modern world. And that is something that we, and it's this is the right summit. And that's when, personally, I was so delighted when Anka and Micah asked me to moderate this distinguished panel. And also as a participant, I've been here since yesterday, and I really need to compliment organizer Anka and Micah for your vision. I remember it was December, early December, after our IWF conference, that the 2 of them approached us to be a venue for this summit. And we immediately say yes. We had to work out some details because this is a place to learn. Asia Society is about East and West, contemporary as well as tradition. And those of you who have not had a chance to see our beautiful gallery, Chantel Miller Gallery, please take a look. And it is a historical site up there. And so we are heritage as well as history as well as contemporary. So enough of my commercial. But I really thank you all for being here. So this morning, I'm really going to be asking our distinguished panel to talk about their journeys and their research about TCM or CTCM. And today, the speakers, I want to start off with our, I don't want to say token male, but Dr. Zhang Shiping from Hong Kong Baptist University. Dr. Zhang's, those of you who've seen his bio, he is got his training from Guangzhou and then also studied in Australia, and came back to Hong Kong in the late 90s to start some really groundbreaking research at Hong Kong Baptist in the TCM space. And after 20-some years, Dr. Zhang is still here in Hong Kong. And Dr. Zhang, your career really does bridge both tradition as well as innovation. And you have helped shape Hong Kong's academic landscape in this area. So, how does TCM kind of present a different lens, a different perspective in the area of understanding women's health? And I know earlier you already gave us some really interesting information, but can you elaborate on your research or on your journey in this area?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your kind introduction. Traditional Chinese medicine has always recognized the difference between men and women. 2,000 years ago, we have a classic Huangdi Neijing already recognized that the women's life physiological cycles runs in 7 years as opposed to men in 8 years. So before the age of 30, let me see, from like a 21 to 35 is a prime reproductive years. And during these years, the need is to balance the body. And then after 42, and this will be running into a perimenopausal period. And then the focus there is to nourish the body essence, Jing. So this practice has been put into practice of Chinese medicine for many years. And then about 400 years ago, a great master called Fu Qingzhu, he written a book specifically on gynecology. And in there, he established another theory or observation, that is, during the productive period or the menstruation period, the women's most of the problems were caused by the blockage of liver qi, and which is often caused by emotional factors. So now the focus was on how to balance liver qi or balance the emotion. And now science have found that stress can cause cortisol release, which can then disrupt the menstruation cycle. So it's well backed up by science. And then, in terms of research, we already know that TCM can boost fertility, for example, for polycystic ovary syndromes, which can cause irregular periods. And we know that acupuncture at specific points, such as the spleen 6 at the leg, can lower the testosterone level and restore regular cycles. And also, some studies have suggest that herbs and acupuncture can improve pregnancy rates, and which can also enhance the effect of Western treatment. For example, the master foods, Yi Jing decoction, can help some women to raise their anti-Mullerian hormone levels, and even can conceive after IVF have failed. And also acupuncture has been used extensively in the United States and other Western countries for IVF support, because acupuncture has shown that with the treatment can improve the pregnancy rate or the successful rate about 15%. Many studies have found that the acupuncture had an effect on easing the menopausal syndromes, and the effect is about 50%. I just heard about the use of AI in women's health, and we have a platform relying based mostly on AI tongue image analysis. And I just got back from Malaysia on a conference specifically on tongue imaging. And one of the speakers talked about the use of tongue image for monitoring different menstruation changes. And the use of our app can easily enhance this kind of observation, and it's very convenient. So the ladies can use the app to detect their physiological changes associated with their period cycles, and then to see any intervention that may be beneficial for what we call the perimenopausal, or not the perimenstruation symptoms. And we were talking about any programs that may be enhancing women's health through the TCM psychedelic theories, because, for example, in Chinese people, we have a tradition of drinking the day soup, 红枣水, after the period. So if we have a way of monitoring the psychotic changes, I was thinking that even the partners can offer something to their female partners before their menstruation, so that in the next menstruation, their partners will be more friendly, or and such as like bring them to a Michelin health food cuisine or whatever. So I guess I will start with this, and then I'll let the other ladies to elaborate.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang. That was great advice, and I hope the men out there are listening as well. But what's really interesting, I think one of the points I'm taking away from it is growing up, it was Chinese medicine and Western medicine should not mix. And I think what you're saying now is, and I think in many ways this summit has been about, it should mix and it can enhance, and really looking at health in a holistic way. It's no longer just never the twain shall meet, but it can be complementary. So now I'm going to turn over to Amanda. Amanda is the commercial director of DFI Health and Beauty. And Amanda, you have overseen health and beauty for over 1,500 stores across Asia. You know a lot about the changing consumer behavior. And what trends are you seeing in the area of TCM-based wellness products? And how are brands and retailers really evolving to meet this really strong demand?
Thanks, Alice. So yeah, it's such a privilege to be here and to share. In fact, I only rejoined the company less than a year ago. And if you don't know what commercial means, it means we get to meet incredible suppliers and brands, hear about their products, their journeys, and then we have teams in all of our various different markets to help curate and decide which products do we want to bring to our customers. So we might have 1,500 stores. For those who don't know, I realize even on the panel, Guardian and Mannings are both health and beauty retailers that our company runs. And what I've learned since coming back, especially in the markets that we're in, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, you have the East meets West. In our stores, you will see products that are both, it includes Western supplements, it includes, TCM as you mention it. We call it modern Chinese medicine, contemporary traditional Chinese medicine. I really like that as well. We've talked about how today's panel is about demystifying this idea of traditional Chinese medicine. And I'm probably a really good case in point customer where I thought it was bitter too. And I didn't like taking any of the traditional Chinese medicine. It's not my normal go-to. But in learning about women's health, in learning about how Chinese medicine is now being brought, and you'll hear it later from some of the other ladies, into packaging that is more acceptable, more approachable, and in our retail format where you might not be so comfortable walking into your traditional Chinese clinic, but if you come into one of our stores, through our staff, through education, we want to be able to make it accessible to everyone. And not just the products itself, but if I think about sort of our three roles as a retailer and how we partner with brands, the first one is education. There's so much that we don't know about TCM, There's so much we don't know about how we should take it, when we should take it. I think one of my key learnings on the journey about traditional Chinese medicine, and one of the key differences to maybe Western medicine, is the fact that it's preventative. And there's this growing trend of well-being and wellness, and we want to be on that journey, right? We want to be able to educate our customers, our staff about how you can take better care of yourself. So that's that first bit on education. How do we bring that to life online in our stores? How do I absorb as much I can over these next 2 days? And then think about how I bring that to the 160 million customers who we serve in all of our stores. The second one is access. So in terms of the products, how do we bring that to life so that when customers are coming in, we can explain why they should use it? And I think earlier during the coffee break, there's not enough, education is one thing, it's another thing in terms of helping women understand which products are good for them and right for them at which time. And there are now startups and there are companies that are starting to brand this in a way that is easy to understand. So if you think of, when you think of like Rainforest Alliance on coffee, there is now a company that works more in the western parts of the U.S. I haven't even met them, but we've got a session set up, and believe they're called Gen M. But it's basically an icon that you can then brand through the stores to help women understand this is a good product for you if you are going through perimenopause or menopause. And I think on that access, it's also about just being an advocate. That's why we're here today, me and the team. It's how do we encourage the conversation about women's health? Something we see less so in Asia, but it's definitely more prevalent now in the West, be it the UK or the US. Stores have aisles that are focused on women's health, where you bring it together, and it's beyond just sanitary products. So I think that is also one of the pieces we're trying to bring forth to our customers. And I think the final one on there, and I love that Dr. Zhang talked about AI. So if you tried the wellness scan today, it is very much still more on Western, right? It's your usual, it takes a photo, it tells you what your age is, it tells you how your heart rate is. In the coming months, we're bringing that into modern Chinese medicine within our stores. So we will have that tongue analysis as well, because again, it's letting customers know there's a different way of looking at your wellness, and it ties into products that are beyond your regular vitamins, minerals, and supplements. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Amanda. And I find myself, what you were talking about is, used to be I would bring products from the States, I go to Costco or whatever, supplements and bring them back. But now, lately, I've been getting requests from friends and family in the US to bring back so-and-so, because online, they've done their own research and they know it's available only here in Hong Kong, and part of it is safety. So I think there is a lot of retail opportunity there. And in some way, this is a great segue into Stephanie Tan, founder and CEO of Nu Chi. And it's Nu Chi because it's Nui Chi. But I did the research, women energy, or women, So Stephanie, tell us about, kind of your work at Nu Chi, founding it, and translating really, again, non-sexy TCM wisdom into modern and also plant-based supplements for today's women. And what inspired you to reimagine TCM through this perspective? And how are you helping women around the world and trusting this kind of old practice and making it into a modern format?
Thank you, Alice, and thank you for everyone today. The journey of Nu Chi and traditional Chinese medicine really started with my own health journey. I grew up in Hong Kong and was raised in a household where my grandparents were big believers of TCM. They brewed tea, they brewed herbal teas. My grandmother practiced Tai Chi and Qigong daily. And then they would brew different teas for my brother and I whenever we had like a cough or anything like that. But when it came to my parents, they were more of a Western mindset, and I think that was probably part of their generation. They were Western educated, and there was a lot of, is this safe? Where are the herbs coming from? And does this really work? So while I had a background in, the background of TCM, I was raised by skeptics, and I did have that skepticism in me. And fast forward, I was, went to school in the States, then came back to Hong Kong, and I had really bad nasal allergies. So I had nasal allergies for about 10 years where I was just like red-eyed during the day, and it was really, really bad at night, especially at night. So I would see my ENT doctor, and he prescribed me just a cocktail of medication, Telfast, Zyzal, nasal spray, and every so often he'd be like, come back so I can check on that. But what that really meant was he was just going to readjust my dosage. And at some point I just thought, oh, I'll just do it myself. And I went to Fanda and I self-prescribed. And it just became a cycle until I was pregnant. And that's when I realized I can't do this to myself anymore. And in between, I tried things like bioresonance therapy. I saw an allergy doctor, like an allergy specialist, where he was like, you need to cut out like these 20 things in your diet. And I was just like, I love food. Why would I do that? So then nothing worked until I went to see a Chinese doctor. So that was a big barrier for me. And it was through herbs and acupuncture that really was a game changer. And I don't need to rely on my Zyzal or Telfast daily anymore. And so that was really the light bulb moment where I was like, there is a big opportunity in the market, because it shouldn't be TCM for my grandparents. It should be for myself and for everybody around us that wants to get access, but it's just too hard to understand. So Nuchi, what makes us special is, number one, we are modernizing TCM through formulations. So I think you brought up East meets West. I think that's really important for us. So we work with Chinese doctors as well as Western doctors and scientists to update our formulations. So everything begins with the classical TCM formulations that exist from thousands of years. And then we'll look at the different herbs, and we'll look at the clinical evidence behind each of the herbs. And in cases where we think, okay, there's another ingredient that we can substitute that will work better, we will substitute that ingredient. So it really is talking to our panel of scientific advisors that we're coming up with these unique formulations. Also, we believe less is more, so it's not 20 different herbs. It's really just the herbs that work at the correct dosage. Number two is, I think you brought up taste for all of us. And the taste, the smell, all of that. So in our products, we have capsules as well as powders, and the powders do not taste bitter. You actually have some in your goodie bags, and it tastes like green tea. So it should be part of your everyday life. It shouldn't be, I have to take this, it's good for me, so therefore I'm gonna just swallow it up because I need to. And then again, it's on-the-go sachets or pills where you can take with you anytime because it can fit into your routine. Because I would love to say that I have a routine, but as a mom, it's just difficult and things happen. And then I think you brought up education, Amanda, and that's so important for us. Storytelling, not just about what are the herbs in the products, but it's the why. That's really important. So we actually just launched a podcast to celebrate Eastern wellness and bringing on experts like traditional Chinese doctors, as well as integrative health specialists, founders, to really come together to bring that up, and I'm really excited because I think that TCM is having its moment, and I think it's how we collaborate, how we have partnerships, bring that together. So I'm really excited to be part of that journey.
I'm really excited to hear about podcasts because that is an area my colleague and I are looking at as well. So maybe that's an area we can collaborate on. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And now we're going to turn to Sarah Jeng Ho, CEO and co-founder at Antavorta. And, Sarah, we're really delighted you flew in to be with us for today's discussion. And you kind of have worked really well to blend TCM, and you've kind of helped popularize or help in the area of blending TCM with women empowerment. With Antavorta, you've addressed intimate wellness, an area often left out in the health conversation, but we've had quite a bit of that this last 2 days. But how are you using TCM to support women's intimate health? And what are some of the barriers, the cultural barrier that we need to break to kind of further that discussion?
Thank you, Alice. I grew up in Hong Kong on herbal remedies, just like Steph. Studied in the States, and then I was in China running an etiquette school, and that became a Netflix show called Mind Your Manners, and it's a makeover reality show. And as part of my makeover for my students, just because it was growing up in Hong Kong, TCM and feng shui were in my DNA, I would take my students to do acupuncture. And if you watch my Netflix show, you'll probably see all this. I'd take them to drink Chinese herbs. I'd go to their homes, and I'd be like, you have a mirror in front of your bed? That's bad feng shui. It invites a third party into your relationship. And what was really interesting is that I didn't anticipate that my American audience would really lean into that. So when the show came out in 2022, I was getting a lot of DMs on Instagram from Americans, actually people all over the world, but mostly Americans, saying, your show opened my eyes to Chinese culture. Please recommend a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. Where I live in Orlando, Florida. And I'd be like, this is very interesting. And right around the same time, a very good friend of mine, Annie, she's Taiwanese and her family business is traditional Chinese medicine. She actually went into early menopause at the age of 35 years old because she had endometriosis. Western doctors gave her GnRH hormone shots. So she had months of shots. She was thrown into early menopause. Her hair was thinning. It never really grew back. And she had major vaginal dryness. And that vaginal dryness led to vaginal itch. And in her own words, she said, it feels like ants crawling on your skin. I can't even get through my day. She tried everything, right? She even did acupuncture on her vagina, as well as like laser wands and this and that. And nothing worked until one day she had a vaginal massage using a traditional Chinese medicine cream. And when she told me this, she's like, but I can't go do that like every other day. It's not sustainable. And I said, well, you know what? You're probably not the only one suffering from this. How about we take what makes us healthy and happy and we put it into something that we can share with women across the world? So I convinced her to quit her job. At that time, she was president of Diesel Jeans for Asia Pacific. And we spent 2 years developing Anti-Vorta, which the products are over in the back corner that you can take a look at. So it's essentially feminine care formulated with traditional Chinese medicine. We have wash, wipes, and sprays for your vulva. Everything's for external, to fight vaginal odor and vaginal dryness. And I remember when I was first planning it, a bunch of my friends were like, you're an etiquette expert. Are you sure you want to be known for doing stuff in vaginas? And I was like, well, this is something that I care passionately about. I love TCM. My friend Annie has a real problem. Like, there has to be a solution for women all over the world. And then luckily for us, we caught this menopause movement. I'm 39, Annie is 42, we're mature millennials. So I just thought, other mature millennials would use this. But then as our customer data was coming in, I realized, wait, over 70% of our customers are over the age of 45. 55% are over the age of 55. And the remaining are over the age of 65. And I was like, this is really interesting. And at the same time, in the past year, Oprah did a menopause special. Holly Berry was on Trevor Noah's podcast talking about her vaginal atrophy from menopause that was misdiagnosed as herpes. And Naomi Watts came out and said she went into menopause at the age of 37. So we were very lucky to catch this wave. Our formula is, our base formula is called 五味消毒饮, and it is a skin medicine that's been used for wound healing for over 2,000 years in China. What's interesting is that as our customers were leaving reviews, apparently it's good for acne, because our customers were like, I use this on my back, it got rid of my bacne. Oh, my husband uses this on his face, it got rid of his breakouts, as well as UTIs and BV. So for a lot of our customers, if they feel the onset of a yeast infection, or etc., then they use our wash twice a day, and it just nips in the bud. No pharma, no doctor, no over-the-counter drug or anything. So my journey into TCM was by accident. It was sort of my passion. I actually made the move to LA a year ago to really bring our focuses on launching Anti-Vorta in the States, because for me and Annie, I feel that the last 10 years of my career, I spent bringing Western etiquette into China, but the next 10 years I really see as bringing Chinese culture to the West. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a really interesting story. But what are you now seeing in terms of, are there obstacles, in terms, or challenges, what you're trying to do? Also in light of what's happening,
So that actually was initially as we were developing Anti-Vorta. That was one of my concerns where we're like, oh, we're Chinese, Sino-US relations aren't great right now. And early days, I was flying a lot to the States, and I would go to the Ultas, the Blue Mercuries, the Sephoras, and I would just quiz the sales girls. I would say, oh, so what's popular now? And obviously that was, K-beauty had a huge thing. And they were like, oh, K-beauty, but K-beauty's coming off of its peak right now. And I was like, yeah. I was like, so what's the next thing? They're like, C-beauty. So black and white sales girls looking me, a Chinese girl, in the face saying, C-beauty. I was like, what's C-beauty? They were like, Chinese beauty. And I was like, that is interesting. This is about 2-3 years ago. And I said, okay, can you name some brands? But then they couldn't name any brands. So I thought it was an interesting inflection point where actually, and they were telling me the American consumer does not care about China-US political relations. Western medicine is about fixing symptoms. Chinese medicine is about prevention. Americans didn't realize the importance of prevention until COVID. And it was really the COVID plus a mistrust of big pharma, right? Everybody knows about the Sackler family and Purdue Pharma and fentanyl. So there's been a huge backlash against pharma in the States. The combination of these two things have led a lot of Americans to look towards holistic medicine, natural, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine. And almost everybody I know in the States, people who've never been to China, maybe never even been to Asia, they either themselves or they know somebody directly who couldn't get pregnant and then did acupuncture and now has 2 kids, right? Or like got rid of their back pain, etc. So it's really, really interesting. I thought it would be a challenge, and it hasn't been.
Thank you. That was really enlightening. So, soft power at TCM as soft power. So I think that is something that Hong Kong is really the right place to kind of really continue this discussion. But thank you, Sarah Jing, for this great discussion. Now we turn to Nellie. Nellie Lam is Associate Director at Hong Kong Baptist University, like Dr. Zhang. Nellie, you work really at this intersection of innovation, knowledge transfer, global health partnership, and BU has been really a pioneer in this area here in Hong Kong. What project are you guys currently working on that is going to be kind of taking the wisdom of traditional Chinese medicine to a global audience, kind of like what we're talking about here, and especially in the area of women's health?
Thank you, Alice. So I work in the strategic alliance front of knowledge transfer. That means I do a lot of outreach to the industry, government, and supranational bodies. Everybody is a stakeholder, and now the with emphasis in the women population. So at Baptist U. Some of you may know about us because of our long heritage in TCM. So we have over 25 experience in CM education. We have 16 clinics in all throughout Hong Kong. You may have visited one of them. We also have a Chinese medicine hospital, which has BU has been appointed by the government to operate, and it's going to be launched by the end of this year. So it's going to be a prime site for Eastern and Western medicine integration. Very bold step for Hong Kong, and in the realm of knowledge transfer, we try to understand the the real needs in the society and how academia can can contribute, right? So KT is being coined the third mission of a university next to teaching and research. And essentially because it's very important for innovations to be able to be applied in the community and benefit everyone. So for us, the job is to identify and bridge the gaps in technology readiness, which can include, funding. It can be from industry, from investors, from government. It can include domain expertise from the industry, strategic partners, and we provide any other support that is needed by our academics, innovators, entrepreneurs, so that they can cross their valley of death, in their entrepreneurial journey. And so two key factors, we have at HKBU that contributes to the more comprehensive ecosystem is the research infrastructure, which is translational research infrastructure, and also collaborative platform building. So in terms of the research infrastructure, we have the Institute of Translational Chinese Medicine Research situated at the Hong Kong Science Park. And I want to emphasize the term translational research here because a lot of universities have superb infrastructure in upstream research, but we have dedicated facilities to facilitate or promote the period that's in between translational research. So what we do there, and Professor Zhang is also a member of ours, we integrate TCM with, which is the traditional wisdom, with engineering, with AI and big data, and apply them into new drug development, in herb-drug interaction studies. That's very important for Western versus Chinese medicine, and also smart medical devices. So it's essentially like a hub of modern or contemporary Chinese medicine. So one specific examples that we are working on that I can share is berberine. So you may have heard of it. It's a supplement out in the market right now, and it also has been a big hype in the social media or online community over the past few years. It's been called the nature's Ozempic because of its weight loss properties. And there are some studies that have been conducted demonstrating its potential benefits in managing cardiovascular metabolic health, preventing Alzheimer's, even managing PCOS or some hormonal imbalances, all of which are very relevant to women's health. But the challenge with berberine is that first, it has very low absorption rate in the human body. And second, if you take it in high dosage, it can cause you some undesirable side effects like diarrhea or abdominal pain, right? So then, as we do translational research, we ask ourselves, what can we do to, bridge this gap in addressing these issues, and so that we can fully exploit on the benefits of berberine. And it turns out that our experts have really developed a solution, and I'm not going to go into the technical details right here, but then it's a platform technology that is developed based on Western medicine approach. So, so it being a technology platform essentially means that it has the potential to also be applied in other small molecules with low absorption issues. So we can imagine the kind of potentials that it has if this becomes a successful platform. And the research team is planning to bring it to clinical phase 2 or 3 clinical trials in the upcoming 5 years. So if successful, then it will be a very beautiful story.
Thank you. Thank you for that, great presentation. I think we're already kind of running out of time because we have 5 panelists. And so we're going to kind of wrap it up with a closing question. And I encourage all of you to really talk to our experts after the session. I guess the closing question for you is and we're going to start with Sarah and then work down here. Sarah Zhang here. If you could share one piece of TCM wisdom that every woman should know and carry with her, what would it be?
Drink hot water. I have my hot flask in my bag right over there. And from morning to night, I'm sipping on hot water. It's the best thing. It's funny because in America, the 3 main things Americans use acupuncture for are number 1, fertility, number 2, digestion, number 3, mental health. And all my American friends are like, oh, I'm so clogged up. I'm like, yeah, well, all you need to do is drink hot water. You don't need to take AG green, AG1, and like this and that. Just drink hot water. That's it.
All right, Dr. Zhang?
Look at yourself holistically. So if you are not feeling right, it could be your body, your emotion, your social circumstances, or in your environment. And in each aspect, TCM may have some answer for you.
Stephanie?
I think in this world of clutterness and complexity, Keep it simple. Food is medicine, and it should start in your pantry.
I think the wisdom I take away is get educated, ask questions, especially when you don't know that much about TCM. The most you can do for yourself is go learn more so that it doesn't become as intimidating to start that journey.
Nellie?
We would be coming from a consumer perspective. Will be embrace evidence-based approach and be careful of the information and look for scientific evidence. And also, of course, partner up with a licensed TCM practitioner because it's always been a form of personalized medicine.
Well, I think on that note, this is what a great discussion. And in fact, I really would love to have an opportunity to have these distinguished panelists back. Asian Society Hong Kong, we do a lot of programs like this, and that's why it's been fantastic to collaborate on this summit. So what I would love to do, because there's still a lot of questions, and I think I hope this will be the beginning of more discussion on this. And Asian Society Hong Kong, we see ourselves as an educational institution, really combining global and local, East and West, and this topic is really right up our alley. So I hope we will have more programs like this in the future and invite you back. One last plug, because as I was listening to everyone talking about TCM, we have a wonderful gallery up on the historical site, Chantel Miller Gallery. And the show, we've decided to extend it till August. And the He Mo-chun, this wonderful female artist, in China they know her, but not here so much in Hong Kong, definitely not here, not in the West. And it turns out her journey began, her grandfather was a very, very successful TCM doctor over 100 years ago, and allowed her to really, in her 20s, started her journey to the West, and then ended up in Shanghai, where she passed away in 2012. So those of you, again, art, and in this, I think Stephanie and others said, in this really hectic world right now, if you ever want to take a rest, please come and join us at Asia Society. We're doing a lot of health and wellness program, and also take a break and go and see the exhibition of He Mo-chun, her 100th anniversary retrospective. But I really want to, again, thank all of you for being here for this wonderful discussion, and look forward to seeing you all at future events. And thank you. Thank you all.